informal, I think. Yeah, especially given the...
I have to thank you at the end, though, so.
Okay.
We're required to do that.
That's perfectly fine.
And they're the same company that.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. A little nervous, but you know, I think we'll be okay. Yeah.
Oh! I'm Donna Campbell from SAIT.
Okay, it's 3 o'clock, so I think we could probably start. We'll leave the door open in case anyone else decides they want to trickle in a few minutes. I'm Lauren. I've been communicating with you guys through email for the last year now. I'm your moderator for the Library Technicians Assistance Network. And I work at the Laurier Library in Waterloo. I'm a Reserves and User Services Associate there. I started there in August. I graduated from the Conestoga College LIT program in 2013. And this is my first leadership role in a professional association, so I'm trying. But if I screw up, you guys are free to let me know what I've done wrong. Please, I appreciate that. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy used to be the moderator, for any of you that don't know that. So, I got asked, can I put together a strategic session for us? And I thought, okay, I can do that. Because there's a couple things, you know, we need to talk about, especially in light of, you probably already know this, the proposed restructuring of CLA. Has anyone not heard about that? You haven't? Okay. We'll discuss it. It's big and complicated and apparently doesn't really concern us. But yeah. Which is one of the things we're going to discuss. So there's 4 topics, as you can see from the agenda, which I can't actually see very well from here, so I'm going to look here. There's 4 topics that I kind of had in mind that I'd like us to just talk about and brainstorm for where we want to go in light of this restructuring that's been proposed. So first, we're going to talk about the restructuring, and second, we're going to talk about, what can we as a network be doing to get to get library technicians and assistants more involved and engaged, potential partnerships, and then we're going to talk about LIT programs right at the end. And I really want this to be more of a discussion rather than just me standing here talking at you. Mostly because, again, I'm a new professional, so there's going to be people in this room that know a heck of a lot more about most of this than me. So think of me more as a facilitator, not the person presenting this. Okay, it's more about all of us talking to each other, so we can even move the chairs around if you want. Okay. We are doing a Google Hangout, so if anyone joins us virtually, they'll be able to type in or talk. I don't know how this is going to work. I've never done one before. I'm broadcasting to them now, so whoever's watching should be able to see and hear me. We'll see how that works. Okay. Any questions before we get into the actual discussion? Yay. Okay, so some of you said you don't know anything about the proposed restructuring. So what's happening is CLA has realized that they're not viable the way they are anymore. So they're looking to make a change. And one of the big, they came out with a big report, and it had a couple of different models for the way the association could restructure. And the one they're looking into now is becoming a federated organization. So kind of think of it like hierarchical. You'd have a CLA, but CLA would be comprised of all of the provincial associations. LA and Manitoba, yeah, I don't know the acronyms, all of them. Yeah, yeah. And so back in February, this year has gone by so quickly. Around February, they got the network moderators together on a conference call to go over this proposed vision document and bring any concerns we had. And I was very vocal after reading it that I had two major concerns. The first of which was library technician associations have not been invited to the table. Yeah, they have not been invited to the table. They are not considered stakeholders in the new structure. And the second one was that there was going to be no individual memberships in CLA. You would have to be a CLA member by being a member of your provincial association. And I was very, again, vocal saying, I know a lot of library technicians who are not part of their provincial association, either by cost or because there's nothing offered to them. So Karen Hildebrandt is one of the LTAN members. She's one of the founding members, right, Kathy? Yeah, she's one of the founding members of this network. And she's the president of the Library Association of Alberta now?
I don't know if she still is.
Past president, okay, right. Yes, and so she was invited to the stakeholders meeting at the end of January and kindly offered to bring us back information from that. And that was one of the documents I linked to in this slide, was the information they brought back from that meeting. So from the looks of it, what's happening now is they've sent, the stakeholders decided, okay, this document needs to go back and be revised. We can't make a new association out of the way it is now. And so they've come up with a working group that's going to go back, revise the document, and come up with proposal number 2. And on the last page of that document from the Library Association of Alberta, I noticed that I'm getting my documents confused. It wasn't that document, but so they're gonna go back, put together a revised proposal, and that should be available for us in the fall of this year. So we'll have to see if our concerns regarding library technician representation have been addressed. And so I just wanted to open up the discussion, see what your thoughts and concerns are about this proposed restructuring on the part of CLA. Feel free to just, yeah. Right. Almost. There will be no more networks. That was one point I did forget to, there will be no more networks under this new model. Networks will not exist. From the discussion we had. They will cease to exist. And it's your provincial association, not your provincial technician association. Technician associations don't figure into this at all. Yeah. It's your provincial association. So it should be Manitoba Library Association, yeah. So like this is the Library Technicians and Assistants Network. So these networks, this like interest groups, networks, whatever you want, yeah, they're not going to exist anymore under the new model.
Yeah, these networks are relatively.
So network's just a different name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Do you have a question? Okay. So I don't know if you guys want to discuss this amongst yourselves. Like, anyone have any other thoughts about it or?
Well, it's interesting because Geraldine, she's a membership notice, and I thought, I said, so there are still personal memberships? Question. I thought it was going to be this year, they were going to decide this year's AGM. It's going to be next year.
Yeah.
A personal member? I thought I'd have to be joining. What I'm saying, CLA is more I joined CLA back in 1981 when I moved here because it was Canadian. It had Catholics, which is very strong here in Ottawa as well. And the library technicians interest group, had it all. It was all Canadians. That was I joined.
So that point you bring up goes back to the FAQ document, which answers some questions. Like, yes, there's personal membership still for this year. And the final vote is going to happen, apparently, they'd like it to happen June 2016. So June of next year. They say on that FAQ page that some of the, here are some of the concerns they've had, and I was very happy to notice that our two main concerns are listed among those concerns, so it's okay, they heard us. They heard us and they listened and they're thinking about it. That's a good thing, because sometimes library technician voices do get lost, and that was what I wanted to make sure didn't happen. They're aware, and that's one of the things hopefully this revision will address, but we can't be sure. So is there anything you guys want me to take back to them and say, here's what we're still very concerned about, here's what we're still unclear about, can you help us out here? Anything? Of course.
In the
BC. BC is the only province where it has. Yeah. Oh, Alberta?
Library Trustees
Yeah.
Association.
No, what I meant was BC is the only province where they're joined. Yeah. Yeah. So BC is the British Columbia Library Technicians and Assistants section. They have their own section within BCLA now. That's apparently been the last, I'll probably get this wrong, and Ashley will probably yell at me, I think about 5 years? 3 or 5? Yeah. They petitioned and became a section. But they're the only one in Canada where the two are tied together. I think most of the smaller associations are doing that now. I think OLA seems to be about the only one that doesn't have that problem.
I want another super.
Good.
Got a full slate on the,
They had a problem last year finding a president.
exactly, yeah. So whatever they did, was,
It'd be nice to see more partnerships between them though, because
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of library technicians are reluctant to join the provincial associations because they don't feel like there's anything there of value to them. Like you said, you think OLA seems more like it's geared towards public and school.
Because I'm a special one.
Yeah.
What I love about LTAN
I don't want to lose that. And we are going to lose that with the restructuring and that, so the question becomes, what are we going to do with ourselves in the meantime? How can we build that national voice that we've got here? And then how do we take that and do something else with it once the network no longer exists in CLA? And I don't have the answer to that. And I think that's what we need to figure out. No off topic. But I've only been in since August, so I can't really speak to it. Yeah. It's the same at my university that I'm at.
So
Yeah.
there are jobs.
I think that's a union thing. One thing I've noticed is a lot of, I've had a couple of library technicians my age tell me this, they're finding that a lot of employers still aren't even recognizing the diploma, which is kind of distressing. What else has heard that or? Not recognize it, okay. Toronto Public Library apparently doesn't, which kind of boggled my mind. You can either be like a page or you can be a librarian, and those are like the two, that's it. Yeah. I think that seems right, given what I know about various job postings in Ontario, yeah. Just to know that there are employers out there that don't recognize it's kind of like, I will keep you guys informed with more information about the restructuring as I hear it. And if you guys hear anything, let me know, because I might not know, so.
Is there any?
I would say definitely do that, yeah. I would definitely say do that. I mean, I think the more people who know that we're concerned and that there is something to be concerned about, the better off we're gonna be. I mean, will that change anything with CLA? Maybe not, but maybe you could get the associations for library technicians talking with the provincial associations and coming up with a solution. So yeah, talk to people.
Oh, yeah, that's what came up at OALT. Yeah, that's what we need to. And my personal approach has been if I have to join OLA, I will join OLA. Thing too, I used to consider CLA, well, it's small this year, but it used to be like 1,000 librarians. Well, 1,000 potential employers. We need to, I think. Mm-hmm.
No, I completely agree with you. And I said this was a discussion, so that's it about the restructuring. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. I think we've talked pretty much to death at this point. So let's go on to our next topic, which is what are we gonna do while we still have a network? What kinds of things do you guys want to do? I mean, when I set this topic, it's because I've been thinking ever since I took over from Kathy about it might be great if there were things we could offer to library technicians and library technician students, like, I think what I've got up there is resume reviews and, mentoring, because those are big things with the students now. And so I just thought, okay, these are things where I can't just arbitrarily put these in place and say, we're gonna start offering this as a network. I mean, this is stuff where you guys would have to participate and you'd have to be on board with it, and this would have to be something that everyone would kind of want to do. And we'd have to decide together, okay, what are we gonna do? What kinds of things can we do? Like, I mean, we're not an association. We're a network within an association. We have a very niche market and a niche reach, and we don't have resources. So I thought to open the discussion, what kinds of things, as a network, do you guys want to do? If anything, I mean, are you happy with what we're currently doing, which is just talking by email? So, I don't know. Program manager Dolores, what do you think about that? I'll have to hunt them down.
Yeah, we find it in the OLA conference program, their names anyway.
That was last year's OLA or this year's? This year's, okay.
Yeah.
I know OLA does a mentoring thing, but that's only for Ontario Library Association members. I don't think there's a Canada-wide one. I mean, I know CLA doesn't do one, so that's always thinking, well, could we do something like that for technicians? But again, we'd need people who'd be willing to volunteer as mentors. And we need to figure out, okay, how are we going to get word out to these mentees? Yes. Yes, you've had an idea.
Somebody asked if there were links to, say, the OLP association on, say, Malt or Alt or the other, the other library associations, do they have links?
Right. I've noticed that some of the library technician associations have Facebook pages and some of them don't, and some of the ones that do like others that do, and yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a universal standard to that. Like some of them don't even have websites, from what I could gather. But that would be good. That would be something we would, yeah.
Because I would sort of.
Yes.
If anybody has any questions or wants to get in touch with me. Sometimes we have that issue at Mohawk because our program is not online, our students are all over the place, and sometimes they want to connect with library technicians in their province or in their area and don't really know where to start with that. I usually suggest, well, they can go contact their provincial library technicians association and see if there's someone there who can talk to them. But if there was that kind of a resource,
Right.
people who are willing to answer questions or be available
And we do have a website now where we could put stuff like that, so that's a good idea. And I speak from personal experience with with the Mohawk program, yeah. Especially at Conestoga where we weren't really supported. That would have come in so much handy. Yeah. I've been thinking a lot lately because this is one of the things that interests me professionally is, professional associations and library technicians being involved in them and, that whole step of teaching them how to get out there and find positions. And I was thinking, there isn't, you're right, there isn't a class like that. And it would be great if there was. But I have no idea how to go about proposing one. Yeah, I would love to. I mean, I would love if somebody did it. And I was like, who would even do one? So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, then that's a great idea. You're not alone in thinking of that one. Now, that being said, I mean, we're talking about here's things we can do for students, but there are not a lot of student members of CLA.
This is crazy expensive.
But it's only $25 for students.
Oh, is it?
There's a student rate. None of them know about it. Yeah. So how can we as a network get the word out to the LIT students that yes, we have stuff for students and we have a $25 membership fee? How can we do that? Yeah. We are. Yeah, I have been. I've gotten in touch with a couple, but I don't think I've reached out about the $25 membership. Maybe I should do that. So this is something I should be talking directly to the program chairs like Dolores about, right? Okay, I can do that. I can send emails. The Nova Scotia Community College is the only LIT program that has a CLA student chapter. And that was something we were going to get to in one of our later topics. We're the only one in Canada. So there's that. That's okay. That's okay.
And if there were any specific questions for
We are on our second topic of 4. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. If you'd been here a few minutes ago, you would have heard us talking about the CLA restructuring actually, which would have been a good time.
Okay, yeah, and I apologize.
That's okay.
for overrunning government information.
That's okay. We can always circle back to it after and you can help us understand some things. We'll have time, I hope. So, okay, so that's what we're going to do about recruitment. I'm going to get in touch with the program chairs and we'll work, I'll send an email out about mentoring contacts and we'll see what we can get sorted out. But is there any other types of things you guys want to be doing as a network, or do you think that's enough for us to focus on, given that in 2016 we might not exist anymore? This is what we'll focus on. Okay, I like it. Partnerships. And this was something, Karen Hildebrandt can't be here. I don't know how many of you know Karen Hildebrandt. She, like I said, she's one of the founding members of this network. She can't be here today, but she did send me an email with some points that she wanted to share. She is very good that way. She was very thorough. She is. So the idea of partnerships came to mind as I was in a conversation with one of the moderators for the Next Gen network, which I don't know how many of you know that that's the network of the CLA designed specifically for students who are about to graduate and become the next generation of librarians. They focused on librarians, which was how I got into the conversation with them. I said, well, what are you guys doing for library technicians? And they said nothing. And I said, okay, maybe we should partner up on that and try and figure something out. And nothing ever kind of happened because I don't think either one of us had any idea of what we could do with a partnership, like what kinds of things we could do, how to even go about doing a partnership. So I thought, okay, I'm going to bring the topic of partnerships to the group and let's see what do we think is a brain trust of partnerships? Like, who would we partner up with? How would we partner? What would that look like? What could we do with them? And I was like, I don't know. This is something that needs to be talked about because I can't do this by myself. It's too big. That could be something I could talk to them about, see what they do in terms of mentoring, and then see how can we apply that to library technicians. So that's a good point. You've certainly been helping me.
Especially in the legal.
So what do you guys think of the whole partnership? Anybody? Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Right. So maybe kind of like a mini federation of library technicians where one person from each comes together and talks. That's something, yeah. So we definitely above all, we want to start working with the provincial associations. That's kind of the given, the provincial technician associations and maybe really library associations in the province. That's probably not going to happen, but it's a pipe dream. It's still worth bringing up. But yes, that we definitely want a partnership with the library technician associations, the provincial ones. Yes, Dolores.
Library technicians we were talking about. I mean, I think library technicians need to get more practice at presenting at conferences and being more visible in that way. I mean, I know that OALT-ABO organized sessions with the OLA conference, which is a great thing. Sometimes they have problems finding library technicians who want to do that, but I think that kind of thing, it all sort of goes together. You know, if library technicians want to be fully accepted and involved in the library association, they have to be willing to contribute in that way too, and get involved and get over some of the hesitancy or whatever it is that people feel about doing some of that sort of thing. So I would just encourage people to be bolder and get more involved.
About 15 years ago, I noticed we had a library technician, and that was thanks to Maggie Weaver. She would gather us together, we would sit in the gym together, or whatever, plenary sessions, and we started to have a very much more positive presence from that time then. And from that time on, I remember it was we had much more inclusiveness, which was great.
You mentioned the OLA does have that OALT stream at the conference. Do any of the other provincial associations, or any of the other provincial associations really inclusive towards library technicians, or are they not? I only know about Ontario because that's where I'm from. Have any of you got a sense of, are they inclusive of library technicians? Do they welcome them? Are there positions and things they can do, or?
Are you talking about?
Yeah, like how open are they to library technicians being involved? Okay.
But
It comes down to.
they don't make. So the library technicians themselves take the initiative to participate, not because they don't want to become welcome.
Right.
They want our money, they want our membership to beef up their numbers so they look better. But the heart and soul is not a welcoming place.
That
Sorry.
No, that's the kind of thing you need to know, right? Because I mean, that's what we're fighting. We're fighting that kind of attitude of do you even want us here type
Well,
thing.
there was, some needs to beef up its numbers in terms of memberships that are bought, paid for. And so they may come to technicians and offer up some sort of, to get more technicians signing up, we'll do more for you. So that is sort of floating.
That might be kind of a case where if you could get the president of MLA talking to the president of Malt, they might decide that, well, maybe we should just join forces and become one. Yeah. Yeah. That would be awesome. Okay. We're all learning. That's what we need to do. So can anyone think of anything else about partnerships? Just going to focus on, again, our provincial contacts and trying to get word out through them that we have a problem you guys can help us with. Okay, sounds good. We are zooming through this. So that brings us to the last point that I wanted to discuss. This may or may not be something any of you have heard of. I only heard of it probably about 8 months ago, just in searching something else. And I know, I have been told, I've been informed that accreditation for library technician programs is kind of a giant, deep can of worms that nobody really wants to touch with a 10-foot pole. Karen, in her comments to me specifically said, it's not that I'm against accreditation, it's just very complex and you need buy-in from all the stakeholders. And I was like, okay, I know all that, so I'm not trying to open that can of worms. But this was something that, like I said, it came up in some research I was doing for something else. And I thought, oh, I wonder if, anyone in Canada is even aware that this is a thing that exists. I mean, maybe the library technician programs could get involved with this somehow.
There was.
Christine, yeah. Okay. Right. Gotcha.
Passed to them.
I heard that there had been something passed, but nothing came from it. Okay. Accreditation. So kind of like the, how whenever anyone talks about a Master's of Library Science, they talk about an ALA accredited one. Yeah. There was talk of doing something like that via the CLA for technician programs.
Yeah, so there's this committee.
Yeah. 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 That's what I had heard, that was as far as it got.
We'd all agreed to it.
Our standards. That was what got me interested in this library support. The LSSC stands for Library Support Staff Certification Program. And it's an American thing. It's run by the ALA, Allied Professionals Association down in the States. And what it does is it's courses that these guys have said, okay, these meet, these kinds of standards. And if you do these courses and you do this, this number of course hours, we will give you a certification saying you are a certified library support staff. And it's recognized by libraries all across the States as, okay, if somebody has this, they know what they're doing. And so I thought, well, maybe this could be a means of accreditation, because then each individual program could choose to become an approved course offering provider. And how do I get this screen on there? But if you go to this link, you'll be able to see, okay, this is what somebody has to do to become an approved course provider. And you know, there's schools all over the states where they do it, but none of them, from what I could gather, seem to be entire diploma programs like ours are. It's like little certificate programs and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know. Is this something we want to bring to the attention of the program directors? Do we want to open that can of worms? Do we think it's a good idea? Like, what do you guys think about the idea of a certification, a certification for library technicians? Like a thing they can say, yeah, this is certified by this, and I have this showing that I've done this. And what do you guys? Like, I just want to get everyone's thoughts on. Am I opening a can of worms that I shouldn't be opening when I think about this? Yeah.
We're responsible. And I think that those institutions, our colleges, if they look at this and say, well, what's involved in obtaining formal accreditation, whether it's through CLA or ALA or however it works, I mean, they're going to want to see how expensive is it, how much time is involved, and they're really going to start to weigh that. If it's something that's going to cost them $10 or $20 or $30,000 or more to do that, they're going to say, is there really a benefit? What's the benefit to our institution?
Right.
And I think that institutions aren't going to see that until other colleges in Canada start to do that. So it's kind of a competitive thing, you know, if you know, in BC or Nova Scotia or whichever colleges, if some of them decide to go in some sort of an accreditation route, well, then other colleges might look at that and say, well, perhaps we need to do that as well. But right now, well, no one is accredited. You know, from the institution's point of view, they don't really see a benefit in doing that from a financial point of view.
Gotcha.
They're saying, if we spend this much money, how is other than making us look good, you know, there isn't really you know, a financial benefit
Right.
to going that way. So I mean, I'm just sort of giving you know, the educational management side of it.
Which is the side we need to see, because yeah, I mean, it's that those are the people who are going to have to be like, yeah, we're on board with this. And how likely do you think they would be to be on board with something like that, Dolores? Just
program quality process, and I mean, you know, at Mohawk, our library technician program has gone through that in the last couple of years, and through the other colleges have something similar, and so there are certainly some checks and balances in the system to ensure that, you know, qualities or the courses are of appropriate standards.
no, I definitely think they are. It's just I think I'm coming more at it from the angle of you know, being able to show
Benefits to the grads.
exact benefits to the grads, and you know, something tangible you can take to employers and say, see, this is why I'm worth what I'm worth, and this is why you should.
I was doing research about the technician programs across Canada, and everybody nowadays in a 2-year, and it's a diploma in technology. It seems like everybody across Canada has those same words repeated over and over again. But somebody in our school is now lobbying. I can't remember who, but somebody offers a post diploma.
Fraser Valley.
Okay. And are going with, if we take 5 post-diploma courses, then we need to be paying for as a result. And some of us are saying, well, what sort of courses? We investigated and found out that the 5 post-diploma courses these people took are already being offered in the second year of Red River Community College.
We're in the process of talking about things library techs can do for professional development and more education once they're done with the programs. I don't know how many of you know about the continuing education certificate offered by the partnership. Heard that? So all of the partnership associations, which is I believe all the provincial associations, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I'm getting a nod. So it's all the provincial associations are part of the partnership. So it's Canada-wide, and can't remember all the details. I think it's like you register for $40 and you do so many hours of professional development in, you know, whatever area you're really interested in learning more about, and you get a mentor. And then at the end of it, you get a certificate saying you've completed this, you know, this amount of education in this speciality. That, you know, there's that, and then it's just, you know, it's tailor-made for each person that way. But yeah, so I don't know if this is something anyone thinks I should point out to the program. Like, Dolores, what are your thoughts? Is this something I should send out and say, here's something I found, I don't know if this is of interest to you guys? Yes, she was very big on the accreditation. I think that's why she wanted me to make sure that she wasn't bad mouthing it, but she wanted me to know that I was opening a can of worms if I started talking about it.
So, and then she said that she felt as though there was still a long way to go to explain what accreditation was. Right. And the follow-up was that that CLA could be a body who would provide more information about it and ultimately have some sort of recommend. Right. I think that was what was thought to be a way forward that was inclusive of current professionals, of program directors, to kind of get everyone on the same path. Because there was a lot of there's a lot of theory. And I have a feeling that that is kind of like the last communication they said that Karen said that she was looking at back this group in Winnipeg and Quakers.
Okay.
And that was the last communication that we saw. Right. Again, as change, people come and go. Sometimes things fall through the cracks, and as things have been changing in CLA, I have a feeling that it just hasn't been involved. Right. It's not that it's gone, but I do think that Christina I think was actually before the PhD. Okay. So it's not.
So it's not off the table. Okay.
It's totally not off the table.
Right.
It's just,
It is. Yeah. And there's another big thing going on with CLA right now, so it's
Yeah.
probably not the highest priority for you
well,
guys.
it's not a matter of priorities. It's just this like
Yeah.
transition.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily anything that requires a lot of money. It just requires a focus time and attention. Right. A coalition willing to participate in the education program, facilitate a recommended class. Okay. If that is right. And like I said, the last communication that I had was whether Karen would bring me back to this group. So if this group is on board with it, right. Then that's great. That's a really good start. Okay. And you're talking about partnerships with other provincial associations. So I think that if there is grassroots support for it, it will happen.
Okay. That's
My 2 cents.
we like it when people insert their 2 cents. That's the whole point of this was to be a conversation, because I'm a relatively new professional and I'm still getting my feet wet and trying to figure out what's what. So
Especially when you get a history lesson.
Exactly. I like the history lesson. It helps me understand, okay, what have I just started here? Now, that being said, now that we've covered our 4 topics that we had, could you maybe tell us more about the restructuring than we already, like, we talked about it back at the beginning, and I know we still have some concerns.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It is feeling of this executive council that networks can and should exist. And
Okay.
as it stands now, you don't even have to be a member.
Yeah, no.
So we feel that the network is very important for CLA, and I don't think that that should change.
Good, because I was initially told that they weren't going to exist anymore, and that was very distressing.
Communication.
Okay.
Because I don't think that was ever the intention.
Okay,
That was.
because that was what came out of the moderator conference call we had back in February.
Oh, that was sometimes.
No, this, okay, so the network will, so hopefully the network will continue to exist. Yay.
The consultation for making it all happen. January, the discussion paper was really good for everyone to read. There was a day-long meeting at OLA that was all the plus some of the smaller groups. We tried to keep it nationally focused. That's why I like to say OLA right? Because we're going to be working with it. Somewhat because we are consequences of finance, right? So we're trying to facilitate everyone's being there. So that was a much larger group. We went over the discussion paper and basically came away from that day with everyone who was participating saying, yes, we do need a national voice. We do need CLA. Let's make this happen. Okay. So then a working group was created after that, which is members of, sorry, not members, but either the president or the director of all of the provincial associations, plus Hope and Carl, and 4 members of CLA executives, treasurer, president-elect, and the executive.
We had notes given to us by Karen Hildebrand. She briefed us a bit on the working group, yeah.
So that's the working group. They've met again. And then on Tuesday, yesterday, the larger group came together again, worked through what the working group had already come together with, talk a little bit more about potential governance model, stress and service for finance, which is unfortunate because that's really going to be the heart of things. Yeah. And then what came out of that was a very small finance.
Okay.
So in terms of what's ahead, there's consensus. There's going to be a town hall tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and we really encourage everybody who has say whether or not you want to favor network, favor committee, you want to just hear what has been decided. Not decided, that's the wrong word. This is just a long iterative consultative process, and we are just trying to build consensus at this point. The terminology that we're using is this something you can live with? Is this a deal breaker for you? And for the most part, that's actually been quite effective because everyone is able to say, yes, I can actually live with that. It's not my ideal, but we have to move forward in some way. Because time really is of the essence. I don't like to sugarcoat the actual status quo is completely unsustainable and it's not matters because the popular game is really, really expensive to play, and we need to do something fast. So it's actually quite dire situation. Yeah. So we really we're hamstrung. We have no choice but to move forward with it. But that being said, open for conversation, open for feedback. We really want to hear what you have to say about it. And oftentimes, like sometimes it's just a matter of information. So if we move to the town hall at 11, it's going to one. The executive council is there, the board is there, and we really want to hear what you have to say. And other than that, I will want to ask knowing that there aren't really a lot of solid.
I can think of one more question. This was just something that, again, I heard, and I passed it on because this is what I'd heard. I was told that there would be no more individual memberships, that if you were going to be a member of CLA in future, it would be through your provincial association.
That's a
Strong possibility, okay.
The governance model and finance, et cetera, so they're very much up in there. So that is, I would know, strong possibility, but it's not.
Okay.
And if you want to speak for affiliated membership, if you want to speak to that again, we need to hear that feedback, and if there really is a strong groundswell support for that, then it's fine. But there has to be like a way.
Right. Right. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions about the restructuring for her? I think we're done then. That's okay. That's okay. That's all I really had officially in terms of conversation. If there's anything anyone else wants to bring to the table, we still have a couple of minutes left with which to have discussions, or leave that choice to you. I think we're good. Do you want to talk more about anything? Whatever. Oh, right. I thank you for reminding me. There is one more slide, Dolores. I wrote it on here. I wrote the name.
It's right here in the market.
2 blocks up. Great. Should we agree to meet here and I'll walk over? Because there's only a few of us? Okay.
Yeah, I guess we're the.
We need to be there for 6:30. Yeah.
Yeah, ours is at 6:30.
So if we meet at the hospitality at say 6:15?
Yeah.
6:15 and then walk over together?
Yeah.
That sound good? Okay.